What grade are you about to go into?
I'm about to go into 12th grade. I'm about to be a senior in high school.
How does that feel?
I feel old. And like, I know I'm not, but I'm about to be the top dog in my school, and I'm about to be really cool.
How would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as someone who doesn't really care, but cares enough to where they care. If that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes so much sense.
So much, yes.
Being a teenager must be confusing.
When isn't it? I feel like everyone's teenage years and like middle school years are just the worst of their life.
What's the toughest thing about being a teen these days?
Being in like groups of friends. Like you have to be like, oh my gosh, you have to come to the mall with us and be in all these like social places and hang out with people. And it's just like, why? If I want to talk to you, I'll text you or stuff.
What would surprise people the most about you?
The fact that I don't understand humans when from like far away it looks like I do.
What confuses you the most about other humans?
How they are able to like go day to day and act like everything's fine and have these complex emotions and like relationships and how they're able to function in this world.
What did you think when you found out you're autistic?
It explained a lot.
Has the autism diagnosis been beneficial in helping you understand your daughter more?
Oh, absolutely. Like going from crisis to crisis to crisis and not knowing why. And now going, okay, so I'm not going to force her to do things that I know are uncomfortable. It's just, it hasn't actually changed anything with this. It's just kind of my mindset of how I react to her now. And I'm like, okay, that's just Calla being Calla. And that's all right, you know. And I'm like more relaxed with it now. I'm not on edge all the time going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with my daughter? What's going on? The future, blah, and all of this.
How would you describe autism to somebody who's never heard of it?
Autism is like a brain that's been put in a blender for a few seconds and then stuck back together. It's a brain, but it's not the normal brain.
What's it like to have a brain that's not the normal brain?
It's hard because, like, you don't understand a lot, but it's also really fun because you're able to do a lot more than the neurotypical people. Like, people with autism and, like, ADHD and dyslexia tend to be a lot more creative and smarter in certain aspects. So we have that to flex on, but we also have this pile of stuff to worry about.
You ready for a series of just incredibly random questions?
Yes.
What confuses you the most about adults?
Why they think they're superior. They have less creativity, less imagination, and yet they think they can boss us around.
Well, I have 15 more years experience of you, Missy.
Oh yeah? Do you know what I go through every day of my life? No.
What do you go through every day of your life?
Pain.
Tell me about that pain.
It's very much like my emotions are kind of ramped up kind of a bit, so I get more upset or less upset at stuff. So it's like someone rolled a dice and just didn't roll the correct number and it kind of just went wacky.
That's how you feel?
Sometimes, yeah.
Like when somebody was making humans, they're just kind of like sculpting them?
And then they got distracted on me, like, what is it, babe? Yeah, huh? Oh.
Is that a butterfly?
Yeah, that one's good. Just send it off.
But, so do you feel unique and different, or do you feel dysfunctional?
Both. I think that I am dysfunctional, and I think everyone is to an extent, but everyone's also unique. So I'm not unique because I'm unique.
That makes perfect sense.
It totally does.
No, it really does though. Tell me about an expectation your mom has for you that you don't quite understand.
Do I know what you're gonna say? Friends?
Yeah, probably. She used to set up friends for...
You called me Tinder Mom.
Yeah, Tinder Mom. It was some people just, oh, this kid moved in down the block. They like X, Y, and Z. You like Z. Get together, hang out. I struggle with like social interactions, and when I'm upset, I like curl into a ball and like rock myself.
Do you enjoy social interaction?
I do, but I don't need it like most people. I can survive on my own in isolation.
What do you do in isolation?
I sing to myself and, again, play games by myself. So, yeah.
Is that hard for other people to understand that you don't need interaction to be happy?
Yes, because people, especially people that like to talk about themselves and are very outgoing, are like, they're sitting by themselves, they must be depressed, and just reach a bunch of different conclusions where I'm happy by myself and I'm enjoying it. I have this kind of disconnect because I don't really understand emotions. I can like see that they're happening, but it's like I'm looking through an aquarium at it. So.
Does that mean you aren't empathetic?
I'm empathetic, but I also, when people are struggling, I don't embrace their pain. I try and solve it for them. I'm not, oh, you're upset, I'll be upset too.
How can somebody best accommodate you?
When I'm sitting by myself, not speaking from personal experience at all with this, don't come and talk to me. Like, if I'm sitting by myself, I want to sit by myself. If I'm reading a book, try not to interrupt me.
Who told you that your sister was diagnosed with autism?
I think I actually figured it out because I was just like walking like around, and there was these books about Asperger's, and I don't know why they were there. So then I asked, and then I think my mom told me that you were like tested or something about it. Yeah.
What did you think when you heard that?
I think it kind of made sense.
I do definitely connect more with neurodiverse people and people that tend to have like hyperfixations.
What is a hyperfixation?
A hyperfixation is where you just randomly out of the blue kind of just find something that you're like, yes, I'm going to invest my time into this one thing and become an expert about it. So I know ADHD people and autistic people tend to have those. And
do you hyperfixate?
Oh yes, but because of my ADHD and autism working together, I have hyperfixations that last like a month or two, and then I'm completely over them, and then I move on to the next thing.
Is there anything your sister does that you think to yourself, why would you do that?
Yeah. She is very... She'll like do something like an art project, and then she'll like go really hard on it and then drop it like after a week, and she'll just like leave it out there. And I'm like, are you gonna finish that? She's like, no.
Why is it hard for you to finish things?
I'm not sure. I think one of the reasons is the hyperfixations only lasting a few days, and the fact that I normally work on 2 or 3 projects at a time. Like right now I have 2 or 3 projects going on, because if I'm stuck at one of them, I use another one to try and think and kind of chill out from the other one.
I will walk into a room and there'll be potion bottles and vats of stuff that she's put together, and I'm like, I'm just not even going to ask what's in these.
And then
I'm
in the
just
other
going
corner,
to walk
there's cardboard
away, and then there's beheaded dolls, because she's like doing Barbie dolls where she, what is it? Makeovers where she'll redo their hair and everything, and just dolls, legs and heads. I was like, oh, I'm just not even going to ask. And
that was a hyperfixation for a point.
Yes, that was.
What are you currently hyperfixating on?
I would say Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh yes.
What's that?
It's a tabletop role-playing game where you pick a character and you go on adventures with your friends.
And you like to play this?
I really love to play this.
So how do you know it's not an interest? What makes it something you're hyperfixating on?
when it kind of consumes your whole life. And not in a bad way, but it might be in a bad way.
How many hours a day will you play?
I actually don't play a whole lot because all of my friends are busy because they have lives. So I hyperfixate on, like, I'll make characters, because I am DMing a world, I'm creating a world for people to play in. I will spend hours just working on making a city and making the NPC that they will run into that tells them they need to go get them bread or something.
I noticed that you've been stimming with something in your hands for a lot of this interview. Does that help you concentrate?
Yes, definitely. If I don't have a part of me moving, whether I'm just like twitching my toe or something, it's harder for me to focus, yes.
You said all your friends have lives, so they can't play with you. You feel like you don't have a life?
I have a life, but that is my life. That is my passion. They have other passions. They have other interests. They have jobs and, like, family and stuff.
When you think about the standards of society, you go to school for 12 years, then you either go to college and get a job, or you get a job right away until you're, 65, and then you retire. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like I'm in jail, honestly. And, like, someone's just set out this path, and it's like, you're gonna do this, and you're going to enjoy it. I promise you. Very threatening, yes.
What was the process of getting the autism diagnosis? Did the doctor just say, this is what it is?
It was years. It took years, and it's like in 5th grade, you got your first diagnosis of dyslexia, and then depression and anxiety and dyslexia, and then we have this incredible therapist that she just said, something doesn't seem right. And then she first said, have you ever thought about having her tested for autism?
In your opinion, what's autism?
Oh, God. I don't even know. I think just, like, a different way that people perceive things. That's the best answer I'll give you. I have no idea.
Do you think that's a fair answer?
I mean, yeah, for someone with experience with it, but not a whole lot. And you basically got the gist of it without going into a whole lot of details.
Yeah.
How often throughout a normal day do you think, oh, I'm an autistic person?
I never think about it. I only think about it when I'm doing something that is easily explained away by autism. Like, if I'm overwhelmed and I just need to curl up in a ball and be under a weighted blanket in a small space, I'm like, yep, there's autism again. Or if it's like, I don't understand what's going on, this is moving way too fast, oh, that's probably like social anxiety or other stuff.
What is it like to be dyslexic?
It's the disassociation of words and the connection of them. For my age, I have a very broad vocabulary, but there's this disconnection between me reading a word and seeing it, me saying a word, and then me writing it. I cannot spell for the life of me.
How would you describe the way that dyslexia impacts Calla?
I don't think as much anymore, but before we knew about it, she would always feel like she was stupid. I remember her saying, because she couldn't spell, and then kids would say, what, you can't spell the? And she's like, no, I can't. And then she'd be like, why am I so stupid? I'm like, you're not stupid.
I mean, to be fair, I still sometimes don't know how to spell what and the and
yeah,
stuff,
whatever.
But,
Whatever.
But do you know now that's not indicative of your intelligence?
Yes, because I believe it was an Einstein quote where it's, if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will always believe it's stupid. And I know I have other strengths, and I don't need to try and develop my weaknesses as much because I have stuff I can turn to for help.
What are some of your biggest interests?
Well, I was thinking about this once, and everything I do relates to stories. So I would say my biggest interest is stories. I play video games, I read books, I create, I act, I play with animals and kids, and all because I love stories. It's the power of words and images that allows you to transport yourself out of your own problems into someone else's. I love late at night waking up my parents and going, I want to talk about super deep stuff. What happens after we die?
How do they respond?
They are so exhausted that they don't remember how they respond, but they tend to go, uh-huh, okay. Yeah, that's totally accurate. How much longer is this gonna go on?
I'm totally down for a super deep conversation. Mm-hmm. What would you like to talk about?
My current belief is we weren't originally from Earth. We were, probably because I love fantasy, we were from another planet where we had powers. And there's this thing online where it's the soul of the shapeshifter lives in the actor that can change characters at the tip of the hat. The mermaid lives in the swimmer who can swim super fast. And so I think something along those lines where we did something wrong, so we're sent to Earth, and we are here to kind of redo our mistake, but we're given the worst possible way to do it. So I personally believe that I had some sort of shape-shifting power. That's why I'm able to act so well. But I did something wrong, and so I was given a body that can't do that very well. And so I have to try and overcome it. And if I don't, by the time I die, I get reborn again. And when I finally succeed and I die, I go back to that planet, and I'm able to decide what parts of my original self and this new self I want to keep.
You really love stories.
I really love stories, yes.
Will you create stories like that all the time?
Yes. Yes, I am an alien vampire from another planet trying to determine if this race is suitable for inhabiting.
Do you ever feel like that?
Oh, yeah.
Do these stories bring you comfort because it's a lot more entertaining than reality?
Yes. Life is so boring and mundane, but when you're able to just change one thing, it becomes so much more fascinating.
So you feel like somebody from a different planet, yet you still seem to have a really positive and optimistic demeanor. Is that really how you feel, happy and positive?
I would say I'm more of a pessimist. I take things at face value, but I am able to find joy in stuff.
What brings you the most joy?
Probably my pets.
Is it easier to connect with animals or humans?
Animals, 100%, because they're super smart, but they don't have all the subtleties as humans. You can tell when he's upset because his ears are pushed back. You can tell when a human's upset when they do X, Y, and Z.
Do you ever interact with your brother's friends?
I do, yes. A few years ago, when I believe Among Us was really big. Remember that game?
Yeah.
I would play that with his friends, so we would call over Discord, and I know them, but I don't really know them because they're not my friends, but I do talk to them. And
is it easier for you to interact with a headset in a video game compared to in person?
Yes, absolutely, because there's a barrier for everyone. It's not just there's this barrier for me. It's you can't do nonverbal communication because you can't see each other. So kind of evens the playing field.
When we had her around a lot of people, when we'd have family together, and then when she would get done, she would shut down, and I would are you okay? What's going on? Why are you upset? Why are you sad? And then now knowing that, it's because I've just spent everything I have trying to interact with these people, and now I need to recharge, so let me have some space, and now we're able to do that.
After vacations and stuff where I'm stuck with relatives, I will hang out in a room by myself because I view emotions and stuff as a bucket with a small hole in it. The more sad you are, you just add a cup of water and it will eventually overflow. But if you let it drain, it won't. So I need time to decompose after stuff.
Before I knew how to respond to the emotional outbursts or whatever. Now I'm just like, I know I need to take a step back, because I was always like, what can I do? I need to help you. This is my job. And now I'm like, I know you need your time. Mm-hmm. And you do quite a bit of, you're really good at kind of getting yourself in, like, whatever you call it, and like centered.
What type of school are you in?
So it's a school all about helping kids with learning challenges and helping them prepare for the next step in their life.
What's it like to have learning disabilities?
It's hard. Like, especially at a less understanding school or just place in general, you are expected to fit and do this a certain way when it is physically harder for you to do it that way, where you either don't understand it or it's much easier for you to just fly by the seat of your pants. The hardest time for me was probably in 6th grade. I hadn't been diagnosed with autism at that point. I got diagnosed a year or two ago, and I had other learning disabilities like dyslexia, ADHD, anxiety, depression, and one time during recess, my friends and I were talking, and I forget what it was, but somehow my friend ended up, over the course of a week, turning the whole grade against me for something I said. So I was like chased around at recess and stuff, and I was like hiding in the basement under a table. In 6th grade, I was in the basement under a table in like this mess of a room with stuff around me, just refusing to get out from under the table for months.
What's it like to have a sister who's autistic?
It's kind of changed over time. Like at the beginning, like 5th and 6th grade, it was kind of bad because we didn't know you were autistic and you were very emotionally unstable. Like there were times where you would want me to play with you, like in your room, but I was always scared because you would flip out sometimes. Yeah. And then I also like wouldn't want to play with you because you were like doing arts. I don't really care about that. But like over the times, like now, I'm used to it. It's fine.
It felt like we were going from crisis to crisis. Oh, let's deal with this, and getting the diagnosis, we're kind of like, we can head it off before it gets bad. Like, oh yeah, that's how she is.
It's kind of like a sinking ship where everything was going wrong, but you could only focus on one problem at a time.
Right. And just these little things would pile up, and had we known what the problem was, not problem, but what the cause of it was earlier, then maybe we wouldn't have had to go through some of the traumas and struggles that we did. Mm-hmm.
If you could change anything about yourself, would you?
I mean, other than maybe making me an animal or something completely fantastical, I don't think I would.
Well, if you could make yourself into anything, what would it be?
Oh gosh. As a connoisseur of fantasy, I would probably have to say like a dragon rider, because they're amazing.
I might be scared about the future for you, but I know that you're going to be amazing, and you're so artistic and creative that you can't fail.
Yep, that was a compliment, so I completely tuned it out.
Yep, I know you did.
Do you always tune out compliments?
I hate compliments, but I know they're important, and you can sit through them and tolerate them, so yeah.